does he keep going back and forth, right? And when we're talking about why does he keep going back and forth, we're talking about the way he's treating you, right? So one minute he's up, the next minute he's down, right? So if you consider yourself to be connected to a toxic relationship, whether you're still in it, out of it, this is what we're talking about here on this channel. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. First of all, my name is Naila Abdullah. I'm a mental health therapist turned toxic relationship coach. I'm also the founder of Thrive, and that is my membership group where I create a safe space for women to come into, to get coaching, to get support, and mainly to learn how to heal after a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships, narcissistic relationships are not normal relationships, and the breakup is definitely not your normal breakup. So a lot of times women find themselves in a very messy aftermath. Messy aftermath can look like being confused. You don't know what to do next. You feel drained, you feel exhausted, you don't know where to go next. You're trying to figure out how to even deal with this person. Maybe they're still in your life, they're still connected to you in some way. You still find yourself caught up in drama. You still find yourself caught up in chaos. You still find yourself being triggered by the person, being angry, right? Again, this is not a normal breakup. So a lot of times people, in most cases, in normal situations, when a relationship ends, you can start to feel a sense of relief and you start to work on yourself. But in these types of breakups, sometimes the aftermath is just as bad as being in the relationship, right? Because they're still able to control, to push buttons, etc., etc. So that is what I help support women doing in my membership group called Thrive. If you're interested in that, you'll see in the comments here, it says comment ready to join the membership group Thrive. I'll send you some information and you can see if it's a good fit for you. All right, so let's get into this. So again, the topic for tonight is why does he keep going back and forth? Now, this topic actually came from a follower of mine from YouTube. So if you're watching this, thank you. And I thank you because this is a topic that I think a lot of people deal with. And she said, why does he keep going back and forth? I'm on my way out of the relationship. And one minute he's nice. He wants to give me a hug and a kiss and he's being very sweet. And the next minute, he's being very mean and very cruel. And what that does is it leaves people feeling confused. She said, is he delusional? Like, is he losing it? What is his problem? Or is he just trying to play games with me? Like, you're really trying to figure this out, right? So the first reason I want you to be aware of why does the person, the toxic and narcissistic person, keep going back and forth in the way that they're treating you is because they want to confuse you in your decision to leave. They want you to be confused. Let me let you in on a little secret. Being confused is a form of controlling you, right? And I wish I had this book next to me. I was just reading this from a spiritual perspective, but I'll come back and share that in a moment. But overall, keeping you confused allows them to still have control over you. When you are in these types of relationships, you are in a fog and you may not realize it, but you're not seeing things clearly. And the last thing they want you to do is to start seeing things clearly. The last thing they want you to do is to get out of this relationship and really see how they have been behaving, how they have been controlling you, how they have been manipulating you, how they have been hurting you, even how they've been hurting other people. They don't want you to really see who they are. And they know if you get a chance to break free and you get connected to the right people that can guide you and support you, and you start seeing things clearly, they know it's over. The games are over and they don't want that. So they want to keep you confused. They want you to maybe think that maybe there's still hope. Oh, there are times where he's nice. He's not all bad. And that's a big trap. For those of you who know me, you've heard me say this before. We don't have to label people necessarily as good or bad. If you do, fine. But if you can't really pinpoint it because you see the good in them, you see the bad in them, relieve yourself of the necessity to have to pick one. What you want to ask yourself is this person healthy for me? You don't need to label them good or bad. You just have to ask yourself, based on my experience with this person, overall, not today versus tomorrow versus next week versus last week. No, your overall, how do you feel as a person? Are you growing in who you are? Are you feeling strengthened in who you are? Are you progressing in who you are? Or are you feeling broken? Are you feeling confused? Right? That is a question you have to ask yourself. You don't have to wonder, are they good or are they bad? Are they healthy for me? So this is one of the reasons they keep going back and forth. They want to keep you confused. They don't want you to see things clearly. They want you to maybe have some hope that maybe there is some good in them. Maybe things can go back to the way it was. They want to keep you confused. Okay? The second reason that they keep the toxic or narcissistic partner or ex keeps going back and forth in the way that they treat you, mean versus kind, is because the mask falls off when you don't cooperate. So hear me out. When they're good, right? When they're being nice, when they're being kind, that is an act, right? When they see that it's not working, that you're not budging, that you're not cooperating with the games that they're playing, that's where the mask falls off. That is a major indicator. If you see someone going from such highs to such lows, that is an indicator that it's fake. Because that's not genuine, right? That's not how it works. I remember when I got out of, and for those of you who don't know my story, not only am I a former mental health therapist, so I don't want to say former, I'm still qualified, right? But I don't practice anymore. Former mental health therapist, toxic relationship coach. I also had a narcissistic romantic relationship. It was a 10-year relationship. About 2 years out of that was marriage. And I also come from a family with quite a bit of handful of narcissists. So I'm not just speaking to you from the books. I'm speaking to you from experience of myself and other women that I have worked with. Right. So in my own experience, I'll share a story about how the mask falls off when you don't cooperate. At the end of that relationship, I was not sure if I was just going to separate temporarily from the marriage or completely end it. And in the midst of me trying to figure that out, I remember he would call and he would be very nice and, I miss you. I don't know if I could live without you. I thought you said you wanted to go to couples therapy and work this out. And as I started to feel stronger and more clear, right? More clear because I was able to separate myself from that chaos and those games and just the negative, evil energy, I was able to start seeing clearly. And when I started to come into myself and say, you know what? I don't even think that's necessary at this time. That's where it flipped. That's where it flipped. And that was an ongoing thing for a while where it was up. I miss you. I love you. You're a good woman. I see what I did wrong. To who do you think you are? You're this, you're that, name calling, very mean, really trying to break you and push your buttons. That's not normal. That is not a genuine person. I mean, think about yourself even. When you're upset, do you just go in and start to break someone down and start beating them down with your words? You might be disappointed. You might be angry. But you're not going to try to break them. You're not going to go from I love you, you're the best thing in the world, to you're crap, right? And a lot of other things that said that I'm not gonna stoop myself down to that language, right? But basically trying to break you down. You're not going to do that. That's not normal, right? So when you see that fluctuation, it's because the mask can't stay up because they're pissed that you're not cooperating. You're not cooperating with the games, all right? For those of you that are just coming in, hello, Iris. Yes, I had to go out and come back in. For those of you who are coming in, welcome. We are talking tonight about why does he keep going back and forth. We're referring to a toxic or narcissistic, whether it be your partner or an ex, you're on your way out of the relationship or you've been out a while and you see that they're going back and forth in how they're treating you. 1 minute they're nice. The next minute they're kind and you are confused. Like, what is this about? What is the real deal here? And what do I do with this? All right. So that is what we're answering tonight, to give you some clarity and help you to figure out how to navigate this, how to handle this. And if you see the comment below, it says comment ready to join my membership group Thrive. This is a safe space that I have created where you can come in, women can come in for support to learn how to heal in the aftermath of a toxic or narcissistic relationship, so you don't get stuck there. A lot of women think coming out is that's it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that comes along with the aftermath, and I am there to help guide you, help teach you, and create that safe space. So if you're interested in my membership group, just comment the word ready, and I'll be more than glad to send you some information on that. All right. So the third reason why the toxic or narcissistic partner or ex keeps going back and forth in the way that they're treating you is because they want to maintain access and control to you. Okay? Access is very important to these people. So you may think you did something big by breaking up, and don't let me make you feel like you haven't. Good job. Well done. However, as long as they can still have access to you, that's almost just as good, right? And that is what I see so much with women, is that they're getting out of these relationships, but they're still in contact with them, right? They're still in contact with the toxic or narcissistic ex. And I granted some of you may have children, so that's a different story, but there is still a way to maintain low, minimal contact, right? But they still want access to you. You cannot allow these people to have access to you. This is dangerous. This is dangerous for you. There's no point in breaking up if you're still going to allow them to have access to you. And again, even if children are involved, you want it to be minimal contact, very minimal, only what's absolutely the bare minimum that's necessary in order to care for your child. Okay, so this is the reason they're going back and forth, is that they want to have access to you. They still want to be able to press those buttons. They still want to be able to trigger you. And it can come in different forms. It can come in them being friendly to you and offering help and support, but there's always strings attached. There's always strings attached. So being able to go back and forth with you, they're able to show who they are, right? The mean side. But then they sprinkle in a little of the kindness, a little of the fake concern, a little bit of the fake support, right? Just to keep one foot in the door. They need to still have access to you to continue to control and manipulate the situation. All right. And the fourth reason why the toxic or narcissistic ex or partner is going back and forth in their behavior and how they're treating you is that they want to induce guilt. Now, guilt is a major culprit in keeping people stuck to toxic and narcissistic people. A lot of times people feel like, I have spent so much time in this relationship, I have given so much, and they have been good to me. They have gotten me through this. They've helped me get through school. They helped me get through family problems. They helped me get through this. They've done that. I want you to be aware that these people will give you the world, but it's not genuine. It's an investment. It's an investment for this moment where they know you're going to start to feel guilty about really seeing who they are and advocating for yourself and removing yourself. They know this time is coming. They know it. They can predict that this is not going to last forever. So they're building a case. They're making investments into you, right? Because they know there's going to be a time where you're going to say, I don't want this anymore. They know that. So they figure, even though I can be mean sometimes and not treat her right or not be considerate, right? But at least I can do some good, and then she'll have that to hold on to, right? And then I can say, you're ungrateful. Look at everything I've done for you. And now you want to leave me because you think you're too good now? Look at everything I've done for your children. Look at everything I've done for your family, right? This is the back and forth that you see. They want to induce the guilt. So they're going to throw in some nice times. Do not let the good moments fool you. Okay, there's one thing you take away from this. Do not let the good moments fool you. All right? So let's talk about some solutions, because with my clients or anyone that I'm working with, I don't want to just talk about the toxic or narcissistic person. There's only but so much you can get out of that. And that's another reason a lot of people stay stuck. That's another topic. Okay, we have to look at, what do I have to do now that I have this information? What do I have to do to navigate this, to make sure that it's not controlling me? Right? First, you can say, I don't know what to do because I don't know what's going on. I don't understand the games. I don't understand the dynamics. But now I've given you some pointers. You understand it. So what do you do next? The first thing is you need to remind yourself that the good times are fake. If you need to write it down on a Post-it, okay, stick it on your mirror. You need to put it in your phone, put it on your wallpaper, whatever you need to do. You need to remind yourself, write it in your journal. The good times are fake. They are a fraud. What that's going to do, and you have to repeat it to yourself, okay? Healing, a major part of healing is shifting the way that you think, making the necessary mindset shifts, right? And the only way we can shift our mindset is when we immerse ourselves in another way of thinking. a different perspective. So you have to say the same thing over and over. You have to write it. You have to see it. You have to hear it. Right? And what you want to repeat to yourself is the good times are fake. What that's going to do is that's going to relieve you of the guilt. That is going to relieve you of the hope that this person might not be bad. They might have potential to be good. Maybe I need to do something different to help them get to their full potential. I feel bad that I'm leaving because they've done so much for me. They've helped me so much. When you understand that is fake, and I know it's hard because you're not like that and the average person isn't, but these people exist. Okay, so when you can remind yourself that the good times are fake, the help, the support is all fake, then you can start saying, okay, I don't need to feel guilty because this is just an investment they're making. They're not genuinely there to support me. Okay, it's an investment. The second thing I suggest for you to do is to go no contact and maintain it. And if it's children involved, minimal contact. Stick to the emails, text messaging maybe, preferably emails. Keep it only about the children. If you're involved in the court system, use their mediator, technology that they have, their messaging system that they have, so they can also see what's being said. They need to see that you're serious, that there's nothing they can do to get through, to permeate through to you. Okay. And the third solution I have for you is to use the gray rock method. The gray rock method is a way of dealing with toxic people where you are being as unresponsive as possible. Okay. So for example, if I come to you, Iris, you're here with me. If I come to you and I say, Iris, I'm just trying to trigger you. You're not a good mother, or, look at you. You must have a new boyfriend. The way you're acting, you can just pick up and go. You're just, okay. All right. That's how you respond. Okay. And this is in the case where you still have to deal with them. Okay. So if you're on your way out of the relationship and maybe you haven't fully moved out yet, so you still have to interact with them. So first of all, the rule of thumb is don't deal with them if you don't have to. Go no contact. Okay. Act like they never existed. But if you are in a situation where you still have to deal with them, then you need to use the gray rock method. Be as unresponsive as possible. Show as little emotion as possible. Okay. Blunt affect. Whatever they say, okay. You're this, you're that, okay. All right. And then you get back to the point, or you end the the conversation. All right. But that is in the case where you still do have to talk to them. So I hope that this blesses you. I hope that this answers your questions. Why does a person keep going back and forth? This is a very common strategy that they use to cause confusion, to keep control, to keep manipulating you. And now that you know why they're doing it, now you have some answers on what you need to do next in order to deal with it. Now, let me say this before I go. I know that it's not as simple sometimes for some people to just implement the solutions that I just gave. So if it is not easy for you to go no contact and maintain it, or if children are involved, go minimal contact and maintain it. If it's not easy for you to give the gray rock method, right, being unresponsive, no emotions in the conversation, and reminding yourself that it is fake, right, then that means there's more work for you to be done. Okay. Don't just let it sit there and say, oh, I can't. It's too hard. It's necessary. If you care about your health, if you care about your future, if you care about your children's future, whether you have the children now or not, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews, whoever out there is watching you, because people are watching, right? If you care about any of that, if you understand that God has a purpose on your life and suffering with a toxic person is not one of them, then you have to say, okay, I need to figure out, why is it hard for me to implement these solutions? Why is it hard for me to implement that? And start trying to dissect that. Get out a pen and paper. Journaling is one of the most powerful tools. Journal it. And if you need further support, again, I am here. I offer support in the form of a course called the Relationship Detox. Starter Kit. That gives you the foundation. It's a combination of classes in a bundle course that gives you the foundation to start learning the tools that you need to learn in order to heal and to move on. Okay. And if you want more support around that, I have a hybrid option, which includes my course, the Relationship Detox Starter Kit, as well as coaching support, 24/7 access to a community that you can tap into at any time to get the support you need. Because one of the things a lot of people don't realize, again, the aftermath of a toxic or narcissistic relationship can be sometimes heavier than being in the relationship. Okay? You are dealing sometimes not just with the loss of the romantic relationship. Sometimes you lose friendships. Sometimes you lose other family relationships. Sometimes it's one big avalanche, right, of drama and chaos and pain. So if you find yourself in that situation, I want you to know that option is here. Again, you have the option of the Relationship Detox Starter Kit or the membership group Thrive for further support. I hope that this blesses you. I see some people coming in. We're wrapping up now. Is that Frankie? Welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, let me just check the comments here. I would imagine that being able to hold a boundary where you have minimal contact needs some healing. Definitely. That's a really good point. And it's one thing to do something and struggle with doing it versus doing something and feeling very confident and at peace in doing it, right? So as you mentioned, setting that boundary, if you have children involved, you can't maybe go completely no contact, but you can go minimal contact. But it might be very uncomfortable for some people, right? To be able to maintain that boundary. You might have the urge to argue back and to put them in their place and, pick up the phone and tell them about themselves, right? So you're not doing it from a place of ease. And that is because there's some healing that needs to be done. Absolutely. And that is why I say implement these solutions. But if you find yourself struggling with that, that means there's some work that still needs to be done. So try to work on it yourself. But if you want the extra support, I'm here. And it doesn't even have to be me. Let's just be honest. I may not be for everyone, but I am here. And basically get the support that you need. Don't waste your time. There are so many people that I have worked with and spoken to that the aftermath has dragged out for years. There's always a back and forth. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, this doesn't have to be your story. We got about 5 more months left in 2024. We can close this chapter sooner than later, right? And it's not that we're in a rush, but we also don't want to waste time. We have other things to do. Again, God has us here for a purpose, to enjoy life, to enjoy the abundance that He has here on earth for us, to live in our purpose. Dealing with toxic and narcissistic people, it was not on His list. All right, ladies, I hope this has blessed you. Doesn't gray rock infuriate them? Yes, it does. The gray rock method definitely infuriates them because they need your attention, right? They call it supply. So they need your reaction. So you doing that is going to upset them. And let me say this, and this is not to scare you, but I also want you all to realize that these people can become very dangerous. Okay? Even if you've never seen them be violent before, they can become very dangerous. They have very evil thoughts. Some act on them, some don't. But you never know how far someone will go when they feel like they don't have any option left, right? Some of them have never experienced losing the battle, right? Some of them have never experienced someone standing up to them and saying enough is enough. You don't faze me. You're not a factor in my life anymore. That gets to their core. So yes, the gray rock method infuriates them. Do it anyway, but be safe. Okay? Stay away. Don't let them in your house. Don't tell them where you're going, right? And some people may say, oh, you're being paranoid. These people can become dangerous, some of them. And you don't know who's who. So just treat all of them as unsafe, okay? Because they can become very desperate when they see that they can't get to you. And there's an obsession that starts to develop. There's an obsession that starts to develop with the people that they can't reach. It's very weird, Because it's like, that's pathetic. You don't have a life. But that is their life. That is their life, is to be able to control and manipulate. And their ego is severely bruised when they realize they can't do that anymore. And not because they moved on to someone else, but because you put a stop to it, because you put an end to it. Yes. All right. I've heard about that too. About what, them becoming dangerous. Frankie, thanks for joining. I'm just going to hang around because I wanted to make sure I answered your question to Iris about what you said you heard about. But I know there's a delay here. Aggressive, yes. Yes, some of them can. Some of them can. And you know, some of them may not literally put their hands on you, but they will do things to try to sabotage you. You know, in different forms. They may get other people involved to try to hurt you. They may, you know, do something legally to try to sabotage you. You know, they get desperate. They get desperate. They get infuriated when they realize you have put a stop to what they're doing. Because in their sick mind, they're entitled to treat you like that. And you shouldn't have anything to say about it. It's very weird. I know it doesn't make sense, but accept it because these people exist. Yeah. What about the gray rock what about the gray rock infuriating them? What do you mean by that, Iris? What about the gray rock? Let me put the AC on. Let me know a little bit more what you mean about that, because maybe I answered that already. But if not, just explain a little bit more what you mean by that. Oops. There is such a delay. When you gray rock them, they get mad and lash out more. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. They definitely do. They definitely do. How do you handle when they lash out? You continue the gray rock. And if they're doing things that is threatening to you, you have to show these people that you cannot be bullied. Right? And that doesn't mean you need to argue with them. You need to go knock on their door. But one, continue the gray rock method. And secondly, you need to become very strict about how you deal with them. If it comes to a situation where you feel threatened or anything like that, they need to know you will not think twice about going to the police. You will not think twice about reporting them. You will not think twice about blocking people that they're sending to contact you and get information. They need to know that you are hardcore, just cold about it, right? You're not a cold person. You're still nice. But when you're dealing with these types of people, different rules apply. They need to know that. And sometimes they'll know it and they'll still try because they can't help themselves anyway. But you have to become that person. You have to turn on a different part. What do they call it? I forgot the term they use when people have a different side to them. Anyway, I can't think of the word. But you have to have that other side. You have to say different rules apply in this situation. You can't treat those people the way you treat normal people. So you continue the gray rock method, but you also implement anything additionally to protect yourself and to call them out if you need to. And when I say call them out, don't go talking to them because that's exactly what they want. They want you to pick up the phone. They want you to Jekyll and Hyde. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. What is it? Oh, alter ego, right? I've heard people say that with Beyonce, the alter ego, Sasha Fierce. But anyway, another side, right? And a lot of times people say, but I'm a nice person. Or, if they're in the church and they're Christian, I'm a Christian too, right? But I know God wants me to protect myself. I'm his daughter and he loves me. He doesn't want me allowing someone to mistreat me and not protect myself. But like I said, don't allow this constant effort that they're making to break through the gray rock method to get you to now contact them, because then you're feeding right into it. A lot of times I see women say, I'm gonna tell him about himself, I'm gonna put him in his place, or I'm gonna bring him to Jesus, and I'm gonna tell him what the Bible, whatever it is, whatever you think you're telling them, you're actually giving them exactly what they want, which is supply. So don't break the gray rock method. Don't break it. Continue it. Okay? Even if it's uncomfortable for you, that means you need to work on your healing internally, but externally you continue the gray rock method. Unresponsive or minimal responsive, and no or minimal emotion shown when you're dealing with them, if you have to deal with them. Right? And if anything they do that they're even hinting that they're going to try to hurt you or your family or whatever it is, you go full force. You go full force to protect yourself. They need to know you are serious. So if they're willing to jeopardize their freedom, go ahead. But know there's going to be consequences for your actions. Yes. You're welcome. Great questions. All right, ladies. Thank you again. I will see you for next week, Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you for joining. All right. Bye-bye.